Hello, world.
We may be cousins. We may act like brothers. One thing we do know is we know sports. You are now listening to Locked In with Max and Dave.
Good day, cuzzo. What's up, buddy?
It's always a good day, especially the days we get locked in.
It's incredible, right? There's no better feeling.
It's not a moment. This podcast is a movement. It's either you get on the bandwagon or you run along it, the side, because it is full, locked in with 2 N's on iTunes and Stitcher Radio for those Android users. We are all locked in. We are getting love from everybody. The ratings are sky high, and I just want to say thank you to the listener right now.
Especially, too, on social media, Instagram and on Twitter, Locked, LOCKED_INN, Locked In. Instagram page has been on fire lately. The social media game, Twitter's been just nuts. It's awesome. We love our listeners. We are the People's Podcast. We are here for you. And you know who's also here for you, Max?
Who?
TheWinningTake.com.
Shout out to WinningTake.com.
Check them out. The information on this website is top end, huge success. And you know one thing I love about the website, Max? ESPN, Fox Sports. And I love Fox Sports. You know me, I'm a Fox Sports guy.
That makes 2 of us.
But you kind of hear the same voices over and over again. The same people breaking the news, their opinions. And I love my man, Chris Broussard. I get in the zone all the time. But he's got a mindset already. And I hear the same things mostly over and over again. But on the WinningTake.com, I listen and I read daily. New contributors, putting new information, new blogs up there. The podcasts are on fire on this website. Guys, check out TheWinningTake.com.
It's like Netflix. When you're at a movie, like you're watching a DVD at home, and you love the movie. Like Fox Sports 1, we love Fox Sports 1. But like you said, we know the ending. TheWinningTake.com is Netflix. It is a broad variety of you get all different types of takes, all different types of mindsets, so you can look at anything, any topic you want, sports related, of course, from a different perspective. It is unique like any other.
Cuzzo, that was absolutely the best analogy of the whole show.
If that first of all, thank you.
You're welcome,
But that
sir.
is a preview for this loaded and packed show we have today. I don't think I've ever been as excited for an episode as I am today.
It's nuts. We thought last week's podcast was just insane. So much facts, so many sign-ins, so many trades. This is double it. We've got names on names. We got huge players flying all over across the league. We got big blockbuster trades. We will definitely get locked in. But real quick, let me just shout out my big man, J. Claude. The rapper, unstoppable. You can't touch him. He is insane. He's got his album, The Journey. It's available on iTunes, Spotify. I've been with this kid for 20 years from the get-go. He's been grinding. He's been on fire. He's just the best. He's locked in. And pretty soon we'll listen to him all the time. But definitely check him out. Go to YouTube. Check out J. Claude, The Journey.
He is always working on something new. Make sure you check him out. He's helping us. We're helping him.
Definitely. You know me. I'm always getting locked in.
We facilitate on and off of the court. We just make everyone better. But speaking of locked in, I'm pretty sure I had a correct locked in. If everyone wants to check the archives, locked in with 2 N's on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, I said my locked in was Andre Iguodala would re-sign with the Golden State Warriors, and that happened. Huh. You could bet your money on my locked-ins. They're always locked in, and they're always right. And my partner over here, my cousin, my brother, I care so much about him, but I need to bring it to light. You were incorrect, weren't you?
Gordon, why didn't you go down to South Beach? I'm down there in South Beach all the time. The girls are pretty. The water is clear. The food is good. The beach is white. Come on, you went to Boston?
I told you.
Okay, so let's start right then. Let's just jump into it. Let's hop on this bandwagon of the podcast. Gordon Hayward, not even signed, traded from the Utah Jazz to Boston. They had a clear out cap, so they threw Jay Crowder out west to the Jazz. A big, big money deal. And first off, right away, fans of Boston are like, oh, this is awesome. We won. Gordon Hayward, a 24-point guy, around 5 rebounds, 40% from the three-point line, a really good, talented player. He is. Really good player. But they had to trade Jay Crowder, a really good young contract who's a better defender than Gordon Hayward. They had to cut Kelly Olynyk, who, if you guys remember, won Game 7 at home versus the Washington Wizards versus John Wall and Bradley Beal. So now he's gone too. And we'll get to him. He did sign a 4-year, $50 million deal in South Beach with the Miami Heat. But it doesn't end there, Max. They had to trade their best defender on their team, their second best three-point shooter, the guy who's been there since day one before Coach Brad Stevens was there, Avery Bradley. They had to trade him. They couldn't afford his contract either. They traded him today to the Detroit Pistons for Marcus Morris. So, people, you got Gordon Hayward correct, but you lost Jay Crowder. You lost Kelly Olynyk. You lost Avery Bradley. How many 6'7" players you got? The third pick overall, you had the first pick of the draft. You went down to the 3 spot and drafted a 6'7" Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown last year, a 6'7" slasher. How many players of 6'7" can you start, Max?
First thing, before I dive into this, TheWinningTake.com, we mentioned it earlier. If for some reason you're not able to get on iTunes with Locked In with 2 N's and download and subscribe, or Stitcher Radio, you will be able to find the Locked In podcast on The Winning Take. Just wanted to make that clear for everyone that's listening.
I was going to kind of say that at the end as a big reveal, but okay.
Maybe we should have addressed that earlier. That's my bad. But,
WinningTake.com, the Locked In podcast will be flowing.
My bad on that one. I spilled the beans early. I'm just excited.
Come with it, cuz I love it. I love your excitement.
But the first thing you mentioned when we talk about the Gordon Hayward trade to the Boston Celtics from the Utah Jazz was it wasn't just a sign for the Boston Celtics. You said a sign and trade. And you mentioned a couple huge pivotal players for the Boston Celtics who are leaving. We have Kelly Olynyk. You mentioned he had a huge Game 7. That he did. And some of you may be saying, okay, he had one big game. Oh, and I agree with you. One big game doesn't really make you a great player, but he had size. He had a little bit of defense. Obviously, a little bit of dirty play here and there. Shout out to Kevin Love and his shoulder. But he had size. You're getting rid of that size. You're getting rid of that. And he had 3-point range. He was able to spread the defense. Another huge loss is Avery Bradley. 2 guards are probably the weakest position right now in the NBA. You have Klay Thompson, you have Jimmy Butler, and then from there, it starts to become a debate. You got DeMar DeRozan, James Harden's now a point guard, so it's hard to really find great 2 guards, especially two-way 2 guards, that can play defense and hit threes. He was the second leading scorer on the Boston Celtics. The leading scorer, obviously, Isaiah Thomas, who's a 5'9" point guard, who, in my opinion, you can't rely on a 5'9" point guard to lead your franchise to the promised land. But you get rid of your second leading scorer, who plays the best defense on the team, should have been on the All-NBA defensive team, and can hit threes. So it's not like you just added Gordon Hayward, and then you still have all these pieces that accumulate to form a great team. You're getting rid of those pieces that made you the great team that you were. I shouldn't really say great. I should say good. I mean, you're the first seed in the East because the Cavs coast, but they're a good team, and they have a bright future.
And because, though, just real quick with the Boston, you just threw out Isaiah Thomas, who was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So Game 7, Washington Wizards, second round. Kelly Olynyk got them, I think, the W, right? Got him over that hump.
Yeah.
And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, Isaiah Thomas got hurt, couldn't handle the thickness of the physicality of the postseason. So they won one game against Cleveland, right?
Yeah, they got blown out multiple times.
The one game they won was Avery Bradley's best game.
And
Who's
that
not
was
there.
the game Isaiah Thomas was even out, sitting out.
Exactly.
So that's huge. But let's look at the pros real quick on this. Gordon Hayward, you mentioned his stats, and he is a great player. He's maybe not the top 20 in the NBA, but you're not always going to get that. He's not the guy who's going to take your team to a championship. But if I could add Gordon Hayward to my team, best believe I would add him to my team. But when people think it's just they got him, they're right there against Cleveland. No, it's not the case at all. Not only were they not right there against Cleveland, even if they didn't lose anybody, they lost people. So it's not just so clean cut in stone. This was this was that. But props to Gordon Hayward. He left Utah like a professional, had a spectacular letter in the NBA Tribune, the Players Tribune. And he did what was best for him and his family. I could never, ever discredit anyone who does what's best for them and what they feel is best for their career. He's reuniting with Brad Stevens, the best young basketball coach right now in the game. He was at Butler when Brad Stevens coached there, so who knows what they could draw up. They have a little chemistry there, so best of luck to him. And, I'm happy for Gordon Hayward.
Okay, Max, you know me. I always go off script.
Of course.
You ready? I want quick answers. Off the top of your brain, your beautiful head, your hair, your eyes. I want the brain. You
Shout
ready?
Out to my haircut. I know you're trying to do that.
I'm loving that flow, kiddo. Is Gordon Hayward a better player than Jimmy Butler?
No.
Is Gordon Hayward a better player than Kevin Love?
No. That's debatable, but no.
Is Gordon Hayward a better player than Paul George?
Nope.
Is Gordon Hayward a better player than Carmelo Anthony?
Nope.
Okay. I'm back on script now. I just wanted to know, I like Gordon Hayward a lot too. I just feel, so he's in his prime, his 7th year in the league, in a contract year with a really good offensive coach, and the whole team was built around him. And he threw up, really good numbers, right? 22, 5, 4, 40%.
You're being humble right now. You were the person that was like, even though you're partially incorrect, I'm just going to talk about the part you were correct. You said Gordon Hayward was going to have a breakout year, and it was later than expected, but he had a breakout year.
Yeah, no, he had a breakout year, but...
Yeah, he put up good numbers.
Is he the guy to get you over the top for a championship?
Oh, absolutely not. That's what I was just saying. He's your third best player on the team.
Okay. I agree. I almost feel like Boston is thinking they're hoping Jason Tatum is that next level stud, or they're thinking that they don't have the best player on a championship team yet. They got multiple more draft picks on the rise from Brooklyn. They got a Sacramento draft pick. They got their draft picks. They got Philly's draft pick coming up. So they definitely have some room to get that best player on a championship caliber team.
Yeah, and I think we're seen as crazy to the public and sports fans whenever I say, hey, Jason Tatum's going to be a bust. They're like, did you not see that Summer League game? Shout out to Noah Hart. Guys, the only person I saw in the Summer League game that I actually have that I take away from is Dwayne Bacon. And I called that. He went second round, pick number 40. And I said he was going to be a breakout player. I can't believe he went that late. 29 points and 8 rebounds against the Orlando Magic. Jonathan Isaac, who I said he would be better than, maybe crazy there, but Dwayne Bacon was slept on, and he did phenomenal. He did tremendous, and I can't believe people slept on him. But back to my original point. If you're a lottery pick...
Max is locked in tonight, folks. I'm loving this. I'm just going to step off the mic and just give it to him. Max is locked in.
It's just you mentioned Jason Tatum. If you're a lottery pick or if you're a top 5 pick, you are supposed to dominate the Summer League. That's what you're supposed to do. If you look at the Summer League MVPs, you look at people who average probably 4 points in the NBA, 2 points some of the time. That's why I don't take too much from it. But if it's like a late rounder who, like Dwayne Bacon, as I mentioned, who's stepping up their game and changing the game and the pace and how they're scoring, that's different. But Jason Tatum's supposed to dominate this league.
Oh, yeah. I read a stat. It's something like 8% of players in the Summer League play in the NBA. So if you're not scoring 20 points or 18 points and you're a top-end pick, you're supposed to be a scorer, and you're not doing that, I kind of take that against you. So what he's doing, I'm not even super impressed with. We'll see. It's a long season. Mm-hmm. We'll see how he does. Let me say the bust thing. I think Jason Tatum will be an NBA player. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
But for him to be third picked overall, a huge trade, I just don't see him as the difference maker. I don't see him as a championship caliber player. And if I'm wrong, I will be the 19th person to tell you that and really won't agree and won't give you the credit where you get it.
But if you're right...
I am right. I stole it. It's my product. I do everything right. It's on me.
Exactly. That's how it goes, yeah.
All right, next team. We talked about Boston a lot. Another Eastern Conference team that made big moves, and I disagree with all three of them, so I want to see what you think, Max. The Miami Heat.
Okay. What are the three big moves?
They signed Kelly Olynyk from Boston, 4-year $50. They re-signed James Johnson, 4-year around $42. And they re-signed Dion Waiters, who's been a bust in the league for 6-7 years and had a really good second half. Made some really clutch shots for Miami. Maybe he just took him 6 years to wake up. I think around a 4-year, $52, $53 million contract. So they're spending $38 million per season for three players that, I guess Dion Waiters is a starter. I guess. They're role players. They're on the Warriors. They're the 7th, 8th, 9th best player. Boston, the 6th, 7th, 8th best player. They're good role players. I'm not going to hate on them, but that much money for that?
The first person that intrigues me the most out of the list of names you just gave me is Dion Waiters. I was never a huge fan of Dion Waiters. I'm not a hater of him, but I'm definitely not a fan of his. And when he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, I wasn't a fan of his. I felt like he forced shots, took shots that weren't necessary, and wasn't crazy efficient with his shots. Didn't seem like a great teammate or leader as well. He seemed to pout when he missed shots, which is never good. It's contagious on the team. Whatever your body language is contagious. And then when he went to the Oklahoma City Thunder with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, really wasn't a fan of his either. But when he went to Miami, whether it's the system or just because he has more opportunity to shine because they don't have that huge star power, he seemed to click a little bit. So props to him for hitting big shots, props to him for succeeding, but he's definitely not worth that type of money, without a doubt. I don't know what teams are thinking of. Is just because you need players doesn't mean you sign them to those big of contracts because you're handicapping yourself. You're putting a limit on a ceiling on what you can do. I don't understand why people spend that much money on players that won't get you over the hump.
And especially the years. You're signing them for 3- and 4-year contracts.
You're stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck. Philadelphia 76ers. Hey, Redick, we're going to give you $23 million per 1 year.
That's crazy.
So it's a 1-year deal. And if it doesn't work out or, it's not happening, if another big free agent wants to go there next season or a big trade asset, they can do it. They can go for it. I just don't like Miami. I didn't like those deals. And then talking about Miami, we definitely have to hit on Chris Bosh. Getting waived by the Miami Heat, and they are retiring their number 1 jersey for Chris Bosh. I feel horrible for the man. He was a great NBA player. He was a part of LeBron James winning championships, and I will never forget the offensive rebound he got for Miami, the pass to Ray Allen, the three-pointer in the corner, one of my top 3 NBA memories of all time. So big ups to Chris Bosh. I wish nothing but the best for him. The only thing I'm going to say is they're going to retire his jersey? Really?
They have 2 players who haven't even played, and they retired their jerseys.
I know I feel bad for him, but it's the whole... So if he didn't, have medical issues and left... just say if he would have left on free agency, where they still retired his jersey, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but real quick, because I forgot 2 points, was You mentioned two other players the Miami Heat signed. Kelly
Yes, sir.
Olynyk. I don't understand why. You just drafted Bam Bam from Kentucky. Even though
And
you
they
have,
got Hassan Whiteside.
yeah, that's the thing. So you don't need another big. So that's what confused me. Don't really not appreciate, but don't really support or understand that move, especially for the amount of money you have to give. And you mentioned James Johnson.
Yes, sir.
For how much?
It's a 4-year, $42 million.
No, not for him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, see, that's just ridiculous. It's just not a smart move, and I thought Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra can coach his butt off. They had the best record in the second half of the season last year in the East.
I'd rather pay I got an iced coffee today, Max, for lunch at Dunkin' Donuts.
I had it for breakfast.
And the guy was so quick on the mic. He was helpful. He goes, "Sir, would you want less sugar or the same amount of sugar we give everyone else?" I go, "Actually, sir, that would be awesome. Give me a little bit less. I don't need all that sugar, you know?" He goes, "Okay, no problem. I got you, buddy." As soon as I get the thing, he had the iced coffee in his hand ready to give me. It's like, Brad, it took me 8 seconds to drive here to here. He goes, "Sir, we're fast." I'm like, "You deserve a 4-year, $42 million contract."
So, yeah, like, your main issue is being able to pay and get everything in the car fast enough because they're already ready. That's just good service.
I love that
service. But back
service.
to your Bosch idea, I think he should get his jersey retired. Like I said, there's two players who haven't even two retired jerseys who haven't even played for the Miami Heat, and a football player, and they have their jerseys retired. Chris Bosh was a part of the Big Three. He was, you can honestly, there was other what's the word here? There was other teams did the Big Three. You look at the Boston, you look at what Charles Barkley tried to do, but the Miami Heat really changed the game the way LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh did. If you look at the Warriors now, it may be a little different, but the Miami Heat influenced all these type of big moves, and Chris Bosh was a huge part of that. Even though LeBron James and Dwayne Wade get that spotlight, Chris Bosh plays a huge role in all of that, a pivotal role, hitting big-time shots, stretching the floor for LeBron James, hitting big threes. Like you said, if it wasn't for that rebound and pass to Ray Allen, LeBron wouldn't even have that ring. None of them would have that ring. So he did the little stuff, and he took a step back. He was the man in Toronto, and he was willing to take a step back and win games. And that's what he did, so he deserves it, in my opinion.
Okay, that sounds good. Agree to disagree.
Yes, sir.
All right, another Eastern Conference team that made big moves, and they weren't flashy. They weren't over the top. They didn't go out and sign other people's players. They stayed home. They re-signed Kyle Lowry. They re-signed Serge Ibaka. The Toronto Raptors. And usually I don't like overpaying for players. It's just not my DNA, right?
Yeah.
But on this, Max, I agree with Toronto. I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan. We've been awful for 12 years. The Toronto Raptors, guys, this is as good as you're going to get. You're in Toronto. You play in Canada. You're not a warm weather city like LA, Miami, Houston. Mm-hmm. The taxes are expensive. Guys, they are in the playoffs. They're battling for first-round series wins, second-round series wins. You got Drake out there. You got great fanatic fans. Like, keep DeRozan, keep Lowry, keep Serge together. Keep this unit, and you never know. Maybe another asset, maybe a draft pick jumps. Draymond Green was a second-round pick, so maybe Toronto gets a guy like that. Just imagine, honestly, adding a Draymond Green to Toronto. Like, they're better to Boston than me. You know what I mean? If you added Draymond Green to Toronto. So I just liked how Toronto kept their nucleus. Keep Bond moving forward. I think DeRozan's a really, really good player. Kyle Lowry's a really solid top-end point guard. And Serge is Serge. So I applaud Toronto keeping their nucleus together.
Could not agree more. And the reason being is that the East got even weaker. They managed to decline and decrease in competition. Paul George, Paul Millsap leaving, Jimmy Butler leaving. Teams are starting to rebuild. The Pacers went from the playoffs to, okay, rebuild mode. Celtics, even though they acquired Gordon Hayward, they lost a couple players. The Wizards are probably going to give Otto Porter a huge deal, which we'll get into soon. And they're not really getting any better. So just by maintaining, you're already one of the best teams in the East. I didn't even think Kyle Lowry was going to stay. He talked about he may want to play home or 76ers. He wants to chase a championship. Good for Toronto. They did what they needed to do. I love DeMar DeRozan's game. Kyle Lowry, they're just perfect fits for each other, I feel, especially for the East. So they definitely won.
Okay. I love it, Max. I love when we agree. That means we're right.
Always.
Another Eastern Conference squad. How about the Cleveland Cavaliers? Finally. We talked about Jose Cardelon last episode. They re-signed Kyle Korver. I thought it was a little expensive, but one thing about it is it's their player, so it doesn't really hit the cap. It doesn't. They can't sign a player like Rudy Gay, who went to San Antonio, that we'll get into, right? We'll go out west in a little bit. Mm-hmm. So they re-signed Kyle Korver. Maybe he hits that corner three-pointer one day, and they can win Game 3. But then also, the big news, Jeff Green. And then, you ready? We'll get into so many big names, so many big trades, so many big players. This might be my favorite sign-in of the offseason. Jeff Green, a 1 year, $2 million. JJ Redick makes $23 per. Kelly Olynyk makes $12.5 per a year. Jeff Green only makes $2 million. A guy who can help you in the NBA Finals guard Kevin Durant, bang with Draymond Green. Are you kidding me, Max? This deal is out of this world. Terrific.
This was a steal. It was a steal. What did the Cavaliers need? They needed a wing player who could defend and hit threes. Somebody to take pressure off LeBron James as he's going into his 15th NBA season. As much as we love him here at Locked In, as much how great he is, and he seems not to be slowing down, but eventually he will. 15th season, he needs some help defensively to guard Kevin Durant. By Jeff Green going there, that is the perfect fit. Jose Calderon, not a huge fan of him. He injury prone, older, doesn't seem to be what they need. They need that scorer off the bench, but they're in talks with the scorer right now. There's rumor that LeBron James has spoken to Jamal Crawford, the greatest sixth man of all time.
I love that.
If he comes to the Cavaliers to defend the land, that is, now you've acquired Jeff Green, Jamal Crawford, and Jose Calderon, because even though I'm not a huge fan of Jose Calderon, I'm pretty sure he's better than Darren Williams in the finals.
Agree.
So that's a plus. They're not acquiring that huge super name, that all-star, but
they can't afford
a little better. They're better.
Yep, absolutely. They can't afford that contract. They tried to trade Kevin Love. There was talks for so many different things. There was even that Kyrie Irving rumor. Guys, keep those big three together. They won the championship last year. They were in the Game 5 of the NBA Finals this year against the Warriors, who were awesome, who's an all-time great team. So we'll see what happens. We'll just get little by little. Maybe they can add a little Tony Allen, something like that. Maybe just add Jamal Crawford. I'm loving it. Fit. All right, a couple more little quick East notes for you. Like you said, Tim Hardaway Jr. The Knicks are offering him that 4-year, $71 million deal. I'm hoping the Atlanta Hawks match it. They said they would. I don't know if they thought anyone would offer him that much amount of money, but I really think Atlanta keeps him. He had a really good season for him last year, and that's just how much guys get paid.
Yeah, quick touch on that. He had a great season. He had a breakout season for what he's expected to do. But let's look at something real quick. The Knicks organization is honestly, in my opinion, one of the most poor-run franchises we have in the league. Honestly, almost in all of sports. Mike Dolan, James Dolan. Not a huge fan of him as an owner. I don't think anybody is.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Tim Hardaway Jr., even though younger, didn't really succeed in New York. But when he went to the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, which is a much better franchise right now, much better front office, good coaching, it's expected to play better when you're in a better environment. If he goes back to the New York Knicks, let's just be real. If he's going back to a toxic environment where he hasn't succeeded before, leaving a good environment where the coaches and the staff seem to bring the best out of him, I think his play would actually decline. Besides the fact that amount of money, for him is ridiculous, his play would decline, which is even worse.
Yeah, I hear you. And then the last one on the East, like you mentioned, Otto Porter. It was the Brooklyn Nets that offered him that unbelievable 4-year, $102 million contract.
Where's
and
the buzzer when we need
Washington
it?
decided today they're going to match it. So the Washington Wizards are declaring for the next 3 years, they are going John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Otto Porter, and older veteran bigs because that's all they got money for.
And
Good
probably
luck
a mop bucket.
with that. All right, before we go west, that was before we go to the West Coast, the NBA, the power conference. I got a bone to pick with somebody.
Let's hear it.
You know me, I'm a nice guy, right? I don't like to pick any bones with anybody.
Yeah, we talked about it at the office today. We don't like drama.
I want to attack ESPN. You know, I want to be informed. I want to be locked in.
On iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
I want the news. So when ESPN, I hear that da-da-da on my cell phone, my iPhone 6, big up to Apple, we love you.
Oh boy.
I get one of those, one of those inserts, the news, right?
I think I know where this is going.
It wasn't about a sign-in on July 4th. I really thought, ooh, Gordon Hayward. Nope. It wasn't about another awful deal, too much overpaid, mediocre NBA player. No, it wasn't about who's going to win the NFC South this year. No. It said, Joey Chestnut ate 72 hot dogs in 10 minutes. What? Why is this on ESPN? This isn't a sport. It's not a game. What? I don't want this information. What the? I don't get it, Max. Joey, who gives? I'm attacking ESPN.
As much as I agree with you that it's just outrageous to get that sort of news with so much going on in the sports world, we talked about it today. And I said, how is it even physically possible to have 72 hot dogs in your stomach, like in your system? Your stomach is the size of your fist, I was told, or like 2 fists, something like that. 72 hot dogs does not fit into that. And I don't know if you've watched these hot dog eating contests. Unfortunately, I have when I was like in South Carolina visiting family and there wasn't a lot of channels. They don't even like really bite. They almost like swallow these hot dogs. And it's honestly disturbing and disgusting. But it makes me question, what did they do? Like, I don't understand how that could possibly fit in your stomach. So we talked about that today. And I don't know what the comparison was. Be like, oh yeah, that's just greatness because you related to something. I'm like, so you're admitting that the hot dog eating contest, 72 hot dogs in a day is hard. 2 days is hard. 10 minutes? Can you at least give the man a little props, even though I don't want to see that news, that's a little impressive?
What? Like, my son Colin ate 5 blow pops in 10 minutes.
Dave, 72 hot dogs in 10 minutes. I'm not saying that's sports-worthy news, but can you just admit that it's impressive?
Nope. I'm not giving him any credit. I'll give you credit when we're off the air. Does that count?
It has to be on record, locked in with 2 ends.
Wait.
So everybody around the world listening can hear it.
Is this recording right now?
Hey, this is on air. We're live.
This is live? All right. It's impressive. But that shouldn't be
That's
on an
all I
ESPN. It shouldn't. I don't want a da-da-da thing. You know what I mean?
Stick to Bleacher Report. You won't have these issues.
Wow. God bless Bleacher Report. And God bless TheWinningTake.com. All right, Max, we got to go west. Now, to start at top, the Golden State Warriors re-signed Zaza Pachulia, one of the best starters for a team in the league.
How'd you finish that sentence?
I know, without smiling. No, what a waste. He clogs up the paint and fouls people and, whatever, right?
He does what the Warriors need him to do. Play dirty, play physical. That's what he does.
But they did add a nice bench player. A kid who will shoot 3-pointers, another wing, another, aggressive defender. Nick Young for a 1-year, $5 million deal. You think that's going to help him out?
At first, I thought, no. Because Nick Young seems to be like a knucklehead, a little immature. But then the more I thought about it, what are the Golden State Warriors phenomenal and tremendous at doing? They're magnificent at doing this. At creating that culture, that family atmosphere, unselfish atmosphere, Everybody touches. Everybody gets with the system, or else you're out of the system. I don't think Nick Young will have a problem in the Golden State Warriors just because he's actually taking less money, which shows me he understands what's expected of him. Cut the attitude. You're taking less money. If you want to come here, you're coming here to win the way we win. So it adds another shooter. I don't think he'll touch the floor that much. I don't think he'll play that much. But when he does, I believe he actually shot a higher three-point percentage on catch and shoots than Klay Thompson did. I think it was a ridiculous number, actually. It was like in the 40% mark, 40%, 42%, something along those lines. It was pretty incredible and impressive. So I was told that Steve Kerr, I think according to Bleacher Report, spoke to Luke Walton about it, and he was actually impressed with Nick Young's defense. So it's not something that's not like a game changer, but if I had to say is it a plus or minus for the Warriors, it's another plus. They seem to be winning everything. Off-season, games, press conferences. I don't know what they don't win anymore.
You're right. Golden State, they just got it rolling. You know, when you got things rolling, it's like a powerhouse, an Apple, a Google, a McDonald's.
A locked in
sports podcast. That was my fourth one. All right, let's talk about another huge Western Conference team who we threw it on Instagram. They have won the offseason. I have to give credit where credit is due.
Yes, sir.
Vlade Divac for the Sacramento Kings have added 4 players through the draft that will contribute. Then they go out and sign George Hill, a good veteran point guard. They sign Zach Randolph, who's, a really good big, clutters the paint, still got that left-hand little hook, a really solid player. And these for good deals. They're not Kelly Olynyk deals. Mm-hmm. Like, these are just, how about George Hill for a 3-year, $57 million? It's only 3 years. How about a Zach Randolph 2-year, $24 million, only 12 per? And then the last one, the Daytona Beach legend.
386.
The 386 mainland high school great. Vince Carter. 1 year, $8 million deal. Man, I'm loving Sacramento. So you add 4 players to the draft and then 3 solid, good veterans? Vince Carter, Zach Randolph, George Hill. I love the Sacramento Kings.
They're doing something right. Whether they changed something in the front office.
They did. Vlade Divac took it over.
There you go. They're doing something right. So if you have a youth group, which we seem to be calling it on Locked In, a young, talented core, the nucleus as you call it, you need to have veterans to pick you up when you're down, to give you that pep talk, to lead you through the dark times. And they acquire not only just veterans, solid, great veterans to lead you. Huge props to the Sacramento Kings. But you said something I completely disagree with, Dave.
Yes, sir.
You said they won the NBA offseason, and I thought you were going to mention a different team. This was on the Locked In Twitter account. And on the Locked In Twitter account with 2 N's said, who won the NBA offseason? And I hashtag the Minnesota Timberwolves, hashtag Locked In. And most people seem to agree with me.
Oh, yeah, no, Minnesota's great. I love their offseason. I was just going to talk about Taj Gibson signing there. Tomato. It's 51-49. I love Minnesota, so I'm agreeing with you. I just think Minnesota had Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins. Like, they were already on the right track. Like, they were moving up the escalator. Mm-hmm. Sacramento was that homeless guy just hoping for a nickel on the side of the road.
Now they have like a pair of J's.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, they had just a big of a jump.
Exactly.
Okay, I completely get you there. We already talked about the impact Jimmy Butler will have, but just signing someone as Taj Gibson, just a tough, tenacious rebounder who plays defense, who finishes tough shots, who's been in the league, can help Karl Anthony Towns out when he's a little tired. They're doing all the right things as well. It's like the West is getting so much better, and the East is just going. I don't want to say they're just getting worse. There's no way to sugarcoat it.
Okay, well, talking about more big West moves. How about Paul Millsap from the Atlanta Hawks going west to the Denver Nuggets? 3-year, $90 million. And Paul Millsap is one of those guys, I think me and Max off the air, probably at work. I think he's been one of the most underrated ball players for the last 8 years, 7 years. But that deal, $30 million per, he's not underrated anymore. You're saying he is a all-star. He's saying he's your franchise. He's saying he's a number one. And that's not Paul Millsap. He's probably, to be real truthful, he's probably out of his prime. I think it's a move that the Denver Nuggets made. And I actually like a lot of their younger players, Jamal Murray, Emmanuel Mudiay. There's some guys I like there. But Paul Millsap, 3-year, $90 million. Just don't like it.
What separates a great team from an average team, from a good team, you think about talent. Or you think about like the history, the franchise. And this is a perfect example. It's all about choices and decisions. Every day we make a choice. I made a choice to go to Dunkin' Donuts this morning. You made a choice to go to Dunkin' Donuts for lunch. We always make choices and decisions in life that affect the outcome of everything we do. This is just another example of why the Denver Nuggets are who they are. No disrespect to them. I love the rookie they have. Absolute phenomenal passer. But Paul Millsap, you hit it. You hit right on it. He's not your number one guy. He's not worth that type of money to lead your team. He's a little bit out of his prime as well. Even if he was in his prime, he should not be your number one guy in the West. It's just a poor choice where they'll still win a decent amount of games. They still have a good system they seem to be forming, but it's not a good choice. And that's what separates great teams from good teams, average teams from good teams. It's just choices. I feel like if you and I were a GM, we'd be making better choices than half the league. I'm just being real.
We'd be making Vlade Divac type of choices right now.
That's locked in.
Right? A couple more moves. We're trying to go through it, but guys, there's so much information. There's so many big moves, so many big trades. We got it. We're locked in. We're giving you everything we got. How about PJ Tucker moving to the Rockets? It's one of those moves right now it doesn't mean much. But with Chris Paul already moving, already getting traded to Houston, they needed a 6'7", 6'8", gritty defender to kind of guard up Kawhi Leonard in the postseason, guard up, Klay Thompson or Durant. They needed a guy to play defense, simply put. And PJ Tucker's a really good vet who plays defense. I think it's a really good, smart move for the Rockets. Daryl Morey, Coach D'Antoni. I think Houston's again on the right track. I have them as the third best team in the NBA.
That was my locked in, wasn't it? A couple episodes ago, they'd have the third best record or third best team in the league.
I agree. Should we call the producer to get the Akon song back up? What do you want me to do?
I'm telling you, my locked ins are on point. It's just they're living in the now. The Houston Rockets will be the third best team. That was my locked in, and it still is my locked in. They're making all the right moves to succeed now. They're not playing the, should we do this, should we do that? They're doing what they need to do to match up against the Golden State Warriors. I love it.
Wow, the producer hit it. Our producer, LeVar, right there, hit it. Just made the song just right.
Don't disrespect our producer.
Oh, man. All right, 2 more for the West Coast. And I'm going to save the one I like the most for last. So we'll go right here to Gallinari, who was a Denver Nugget. He just got traded, a little 3-way dance. He got traded to the Clippers. And I actually like this move for the Clippers. They lose Chris Paul. They lose the best player on their team. But with Gallinari at the 3, Blake at the 4, DeAndre Jordan at the 5, guys, that's impressive. They just got to... Beverly's a good defender. I honestly think he should be your 6th man. But it looks like he'll probably start. And then, hey, you go through the draft. You look through free agency next season. I think the Clippers are actually going to surprise people next season. And it's a good move. I don't think the Clippers take that much of a step back. They were the 5th seed, 4th seed this year. This past season, they lost in the first round. And to be brutally honest, that's where I kind of got them next season. In that 4th, 5th, 6th seed, probably losing in the first round.
Yeah, the Clippers always needed that wing. They never had that elite wing. That 6'7", 6'8" kind of guy who can defend a little bit, hit threes, and score. And now they got him. Maybe a little late. Chris Paul, CP3 is out of town. but they got him. It's definitely a plus. The Clippers are not falling down anymore. They're already looking up. And I say that's all Jerry West right there.
Awesome. The great Jerry West. The logo. Is he a top 4 shooting guard of
Dave,
Mount
that's
Rushmore?
not for this episode.
Okay, you're right. You know me, I get hyped.
We're in the works with that, but that's not this episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. The last major signing throughout the last couple of days last week, Dirk Nowitzki, one of the all-time greats. He decides to stay in Dallas, re-signs a team-friendly 2-year, $10 million. He wasn't like Kobe Bryant, who was the 6th best player on the team, who was out of his prime, injury prone, and take $30 million a year. He goes, guys, let's give the money to Nerlens Noel. Let's give it to Dennis Smith Jr. Let's give it to Curry. Let's give it to Wesley Matthews. Let's build around the young players. It's my time almost over. Let me stay here and have fun here in Dallas. 2-year, $10 million. I love me some Dirk Nowitzki, an all-time great, one of the best power forwards ever, a champion, an NBA Finals MVP. That's awesome, man. Great deal. Stay in Dallas.
It's just a winning player making another winning choice. Every episode, I think I seem to have a slogan or my phrase for you guys today to take away, you listeners, you viewers, that we're extremely appreciative and thankful for. This show is choices. It's all about choices. He made a winning choice. It's helping the franchise. It's helping the organization. It's even helping his legacy. That's what he's known to be, as a good team player, a winner. He's not selfish. He's iconic. He's transcendent. Even late in his career, he's doing things that he's not in his prime, obviously, but he's still finding ways to help the team.
I totally agree. He's got a wealth of information that he can pass on to all the younger players. Mark Cuban, one of the greatest owners in all of sports, stay in town and just help the team, help the process. Like I said, guys, check out J. Claude, The Journey, YouTube him. He throws up freestyles up daily. I'm telling you, he's got, I think he's got his CD, The Journey's got like 12 songs on it. Like 10 of them are like #1 hits, like singles. And I'm like, each CD usually has 3 or 4 singles, Max. Mm-hmm. He's got like 10. He's got 80% of his CD hot #1 singles.
Yeah, he's a big hit. We listen to it in the car. I love his music. He deserves not only the credit and the attention, he deserves the spotlight. He deserves his moment, his locked-in moment. We may have him as a guest on this show. Who knows? Definitely check him out. He's supporting us. You guys, if you support us, support him.
Definitely. I appreciate J. Claude. Big shout out to you. All right, Max, it's that time of the episode. You know it. I know it. They know it. TheWinningTake.com knows it. Let's get locked in.
I want to go first, Dave.
The floor is yours.
We've been talking an awfully lot about these rookies. We've been talking, I love Lonzo Ball. He had a questionable performance in the Summer League game, and I know people are going to be like, oh my God, did you see he had 5 points and 3 turnovers and shot poorly? I know everyone's going to be on him. Oh, Jason Tatum played great. I'm going to go with somebody that is not being talked about who should be. My Rookie of the Year prediction. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm locked in listening to this.
He's 6'10". He can dribble the ball. He facilitates and makes everyone around him better. He can rebound. He can defend. He can finish at the rim. I'm not talking about LeBron James. I'm talking about the small forward for the Philadelphia 76ers. The rookie next year will be the Rookie of the Year, Ben Simmons from LSU.
You are 135% correct, Max. That was unbelievable. Locked in like always.
Appreciate it. Let's hear yours, because I have a feeling, I don't know why, just the look I'm getting from you right now, the smirk on your face, the research you've done, I feel like it's just going to be a debate. I feel like I'm going to disagree.
You know me. I don't disagree with anybody. Everybody loves me.
Let's get it.
All right, my locked in we're watching Summer League basketball. We're watching Lonzo Ball play his first game. Lonzo, stop shooting the ball. 2 for 15 tonight. 1 from 11 from three-point range. 5 points, 5 assists. We're seeing Jason Tatum tear it up on the other side, scoring around 20 a game, flashes. We're seeing Markelle Fultz swing around the pick with the smooth J. You know what my locked in is? This means absolutely nothing.
Oh, good. I thought you were about to say something outrageous.
It's the Summer League, y'all. 8% of these players play in the league. These guys are just trying stuff. There's vanilla defenses. The coaches are not in there really game planning. They're just having fun. Let's just not get hurt. Let's, go through the motions. Let's get our lungs ready for the upcoming season. Let's work on one post move. This means squat. Jarrett Bayless, Google it if you don't know him, was the MVP of a summer league around 5 to 7 years ago. He never became a stud in the league. He was just a role player. Everyone relax. Lonzo Ball will be fine. I think Jason Tatum will not be the player he is right now. Just take it easy. It's the Summer League.
Wow. I thought I was going to have to jump out of this studio, talking to your mic, tell you why you were wrong, but instead, we save a couple more minutes off of the debate, unnecessary debate. So I appreciate that. But you made a quick good point. The forward for the San Antonio Spurs, Anderson, he's a great player. He lit up the summer league. How's he doing in the NBA, Dave?
He hasn't really made it. He's just
he's a guy on the roster.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that he's not even a rotation player. He's just on the roster.
My point exactly. Don't be a prisoner of the moment. Don't be appalled by what you're seeing. If anything, just take note of it. Remember it. So when he bursts onto the scene, it will just make you realize what we're saying is even more correct.
Yes,
it makes
sir.
us look good at what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
But I want to say a big thank you to everybody that is listening, not only now, has been or will. Downloaded and subscribed, locked in on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate you, the listener, because without you guys, we are nothing. And just want to really say thank you for everything, for listening, being a loyal listener, spreading the word. Always spread the word. We explode, we spread. The Locked In movement spreads, expands, improves off of spreading the word of mouth. So thank you. And the ratings have just gone through the roof, and they will continue to go through the roof because this podcast is not a moment, it is a movement. So thank you to The Winning Take. We want to say thank you to Thank You 5 in Port Orange, Florida. Definitely take a look at their website, thankyou5.org. And I want to thank you, Dave, for being not only my favorite cousin, don't tell any of my other cousins, but for being the best. I wouldn't even say you're a co-host because we're in this together. So is that okay to call you a co-host? Because I'm not the main host, neither are you. We're like a team. So what do I call you?
Yeah, I'm definitely the main host. You're the second.
This is your time. I'm giving you credit, man.
Nah, yeah, cousin, man. Much love right back to you. I ain't got nothing but love. You are the best co-host in the business. We are a team. We are a unit. I'm Stephen Curry. You're Kevin Durant. We're unstoppable. No one can touch us. We're the champs. Come after us, podcast. I am podcasting.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I am podcasting. Conor McGregor. That trailer, by the way, take a look at it. Showtime trailer. Unbelievable. I have chills. I heard the tickets, front row seat tickets, are $100,000 for a front row ticket to the Conor Floyd fight. And I love Conor, but let's be honest, it's not going to be worth that type of money. Also, I want to say one thing to you, Dave.
Yeah, cuzzo.
You're locked in. I knew you were going to go for it. I knew you were going to say Lonzo Ball don't take anything away from this. That's how well I know you. Because that was my locked in before the show.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
when
So
we-
you skipped it?
Yeah, I had to. That was improv.
Wow, improv. I love it. So we're not even live. We're not even giving you the facts. We're not even Googling information. We're not even doing the details, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. We're also improving.
That's what we do here at Locked In.
I love it. Awesome, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Listen to us nonstop. Get locked in.